Hi, welcome to my channel, Rohit Speaks, and this is episode 3 of my video series about hormones. And I'm going to talk about antidiuretic hormone and oxytocin in this one. Again, these are the hormones which are produced by pituitary gland, which is in your brain. And in my previous video, I talked about growth hormone, and in this video, I'm talking about ADH and oxytocin because these are the hormones which are directly produced by pituitary gland and then they affect your body. And the other hormones which are produced by pituitary gland actually goes to another organ or a gland, and then it releases the secondary hormone which will affect your body. And I'll be going over that in subsequent videos. But in this one, we'll talk about ADH or antidiuretic hormone and oxytocin. So again, this is just the overview about all the hormones released by the pituitary gland. And if you remember the anterior lobe, the two cherries I talked about, the one cherry which is towards your eyes or looking in front, produces your ACTH, your growth hormone, your melatonin, your thyroid stimulating hormones, your gonadotropin, and your posterior pituitary, or the one behind it, is producing these two hormones, which is your ADH and oxytocin. So, what is ADH? So, ADH is also called as antidiuretic. So, antidiuretic is something which will try to retain water in your body. Okay, instead of urinating out through your kidneys, it will try to retain the water in your body. So how it works is, for example, it's given here. Again, I apologize for the pixelated image. So if you work out or whatever, and your body is excluding a lot of water out, a lot of fluids out, so you're sweating, your blood plasma, your blood is getting too concentrated. So what will happen is your brain will signal the posterior lobe to release the ADH. ADH will go to the kidney and allow kidney to get back more water into the blood instead of excreting out. And also it will give you signal to your brain that you're thirsty and you want to drink. That's the signal when you have that urge to drink a lot of water. That's your brain signaling at that time. And so ADH basically goes to your kidney and allows your kidney to retain back water into the system, and then it allows your blood to regain its natural fluidity. So hence, this hormone is also called as vasopressin because it also maintains your blood pressure or blood homeostasis because it's allowing your blood to maintain its fluidity rather than becoming too viscous or too liquidy. It keeps that balance. So ADH is a pretty important hormone. And if you don't have this, is basically you will have low water in your blood and eventually have low blood pressure and other issues related with that. So ADH is a hormone. It's normally available and can be returned back by just drinking water and keeping it back in your system. The other major hormone is oxytocin. So what is oxytocin? And so oxytocin is also called as the love hormone, and you can read about it as much as you want, but when is it released? So if you have a positive physical contact, you have a better social bonding with someone, or if you go in an act of sex, or you have breastfeeding or children. So the feeling you get, that feeling of euphoria or that happiness after you have had a sexual climax or had a really nice social bonding, and that feeling of calmness or happiness is because of this hormone called as oxytocin. It is released by your posterior pituitary, again, the cherry in the back. They release that hormone. It is also used in to induce labor in pregnant women, also for the milk production in the mammary glands, and the smooth muscle contraction to induce labor. So if a woman who is pregnant and the labor is not getting there, people or the medical staff will also try to give you an injection of oxytocin to induce the labor. Now, there are no technical, so this oxytocin is not rapidly released. It's not every time it is released. It's after a certain acts that your brain signals, so it's this, and then it releases the oxytocin. But there have been, or there are a lot of drugs which kind of mimics what oxytocin does. One of them is ecstasy or MDMA or amphetamines. These are drugs which kind of mimics oxytocin and the feeling you get of euphoria or that happiness or whatever you're chasing. So that's why people get hooked on these kind of drugs because it gives that feeling when you get after all those acts. So there have been a lot of this chemical mimics of oxytocin, which is rapidly available and makes you hooked onto it. And human try to chase that feeling of euphoria with what your normal oxytocin gives you. by supplementing with something which is synthetic. And again, what would happen is if you're giving something synthetic, brain kind of shuts down. It says, okay, you have already enough. Why would I make more? And that's why you get hooked onto these drugs and you want more, you want more, you want to chase that feeling. So to keep that normal balance of oxytocin, it's always recommended to have really nice amount of sleep, rested sleep, and try to have really good amount of nice amount of good fats in your system and a workout. That always helps your brain to be active to release oxytocin whenever you have these kind of effects. Less anxiety, less worrying about things, or try to break down your things will help you keep your brain active so that it can still release oxytocin for you. Well, these are the two hormones which is released by the anterior lobe of the pituitary. So one was ADH, which I already briefly talked about, and the oxytocin. Now these, they don't technically result in any disease. These are very small amounts and required by your body to make you function properly, especially oxytocin for the female during the childbirth and for the milk production. However, ADH is required by everyone when your kidney or your blood level is where water level in your blood goes down. So these are the two hormones which are released again by pituitary gland in the posterior lobe, which helps you for your normal function in your system. With this, I will conclude the hormones which is released by pituitary, which directly affects your system. The other ones will affect your gonads, your adrenaline gland. So we'll go over it gland by gland. So I'll follow up in the next video. I'll start with, so I finished this part. I'm going to go to the thyroid. I'm going to talk about the thyroid gland and the thyroid issues people have and what are the current alternatives around there. So with that, I'll sign off with this video and I'll see you on the next one.